Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Jackson, aka Nothing Speaks to Me, and today we're going to be reviewing the movie We Bury the Dead. We Bury the Dead is a 2025 horror thriller movie. It's about the aftermath of a catastrophic military disaster where the dead don't just rise, they hunt. Our protagonist, Ava, searches for her missing husband, but what she finds is far more terrifying. We Bury the Dead is a zombie apocalyptic movie written and directed by Australian filmmaker Zach Hilditch, who is best known for writing and directing the Stephen King adaptation 1922 in 2017, and also for directing another apocalyptic film, These Final Hours, in 2013. Also having executive producer Ryan Frischia, who is known for a few films, including Cuckoo, The Monkey, and most recently, Keeper. And also executive producer Jeff Harrison, who is best known for the film Talk to Me. We Bury the Dead has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 86% and an IMDb score of 6.2 out of 10. Okay, time for the spoiler-free review. We have our protagonist, Ava Newman, who is played by Daisy Ridley, known for playing Rey in multiple Star Wars movies and also films such as Chaos Walking and The Marsh King's Daughter. The movie follows Ava as she embarks on a journey into apocalyptic Tasmania in hopes of finding her missing husband. Ava joins the body retrieval unit that is going to journey into Tasmania after an American military experiment goes catastrophic, and it causes mass casualties and even brings some of the dead back to life. She is told that the dead that come back to life are docile and no one has anything to fear. It's when Ava is burying a corpse and it starts showing signs of life that she realizes what she's really in for. Okay. We're done with the spoiler-free part of this movie, and now we're going to head into the full spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie, now's your time to click off of this video, go watch it, and then come back. Alright, this movie kicks off with Ava traveling to Tasmania on an airplane full of people who are also traveling to Tasmania for the same thing, to join part of this cleanup crew. Not everybody's going to be on the cleanup crew, but they're going to be essential to Australia coming back after this American disaster. Once Ava joins the body retrieval unit, she gets paired up with another lady. Initially, they are going into homes trying to find bodies, bring them outside to bury them. They're told that if they come across any that are alive, that are back from the dead, to light their flare, the Australian military will come in and handle them. Right off from the bat, Ava shows signs of not really being too messed up with coming across these dead bodies. However, her partner has a meltdown and says that she can't do it anymore and she needs to hug her girls. So after that, Ava gets paired with a guy who also lost his partner. We then just get a sort of montage, elapse time of them finding many different bodies, bringing them out, burying them together. Ava and her new partner stumble across their first alive one when she is in the garage of a house looking for bodies. She finds one standing in the back corner. He's covered in motor oil. He's just standing there looking at her, and his lips are like slightly moving as if he's trying to say something, as if there's something he needs to tell her. After Ava and her partner light the flare and the Australian military comes in and handles that alive one, it then jumps forward to the base where all of the members of the body retrieval unit are. Some are partying, some are smoking, some are drinking, they're just all there. While there, Ava decides to look up how far away the resort her husband was staying at is. She figures out it's only 200 miles away from the base. After figuring out it's only 200 miles away, Ava decides to take it upon herself to pack a bag and sneak off in hopes to find her husband with or without help. As she's trying to leave, she stumbles across this Australian soldier who shows a lot of disdain towards her purely because she's American. The soldier is Australian, of course, and she's very upset because this whole disaster, everything in Tasmania, is because of the Americans. The soldier then tells Ava to go back inside, essentially telling her, like, you can't sneak off, it's not safe, regardless, you're not allowed to go. So Ava goes back inside, and then it's going to jump forward a little bit to Ava and her new partner, again looking for more bodies to bury. They stumble across this large group of young people who seem to have been having some sort of bachelor party. While there, her partner decides to snort some substance that was left over from these younger deceased people. While there, they stumble across this motorcycle that Ava's partner is very fixated on. He states how cool it is, how beautiful it is, and how he wishes he could ride it. Ava then decides, since her new partner is so keen on riding this motorcycle, that essentially he could help her get to her husband's resort. Since it's 200 miles away, she would need some form of transportation to get there, so what better way than this motorcycle and this guy that really wants to ride said motorcycle. They stop a few times on their way to the resort to look for food, gas, anything of the sort. It's while they're inside of this cafe just looking around that a docile one decides to run at them and try to unalive them. They almost become deceased whenever a military man actually comes in and pew-pews the zombie. After the military man saves them, he asks them, where are you from? What are you doing here? How'd you get here? Ava and her partner decide not to lie. They tell him the truth, that they escaped, they have this motorcycle, and they're on their way to this resort. He then says that he needs statements written from both of them. He locks Ava up in some sort of room, closet, and he takes the guy away. Ava actually fell asleep. She then wakes up to the military man kind of walking loudly towards the room she's in. She has no idea how long she's been asleep. She just knows that he's back. When the military man comes inside, he tells her that her friend escaped on the motorcycle and that he was a slippery one, and hopefully she's not like him. He then says that he will help her. He will escort her to her husband's resort. They just have to stop by and do a couple things along the way, to which she agrees, seeing as her friend left and she has no other way to get to this resort. The military man then takes her to a house that she's unsure of why, and he tells her that he just needs a favor and then they can be on their way to the resort to find her husband. The favor that he's asking for is for her to completely dress herself as his wife was, in her clothes, wearing her jewelry, her perfume, and most importantly, her ring. It then gets really awkward as they're slow dancing. He's mesmerized. He's really thinking it's his wife in his own imagination. And she's really creeped out, but she's just trying to get through with it so that they can go on their way and find her husband. During the dancing, they're almost done whenever he lifts her hand and realizes she's not wearing the ring. And he then insists that she puts it on and they have to start all the way over because she was not wearing the ring. Ava makes a break for it and runs into a room and shuts the door. When she turns around, she sees one of the zombies laying on the bed. It's a very, very pregnant zombie, and while she's standing there looking at it, the military man starts screaming through the door, "You don't understand." They come back to life if they have unfinished business. He starts claiming that the baby inside of this very pregnant zombie is alive, that he's felt the baby kick, and all sorts of things. Ava was very, very confused and scared and not wanting to believe this man that's chasing her and freaking out because she didn't wear a ring and making her dress up as his now dead wife. She decides to break out of the window. She jumps out of the window, comes around through the front door because she's looking for the keys to his vehicle. She sees him inside and tries to go back in to get the keys. He notices her and he immediately starts to charge her. The military man then starts chasing her, and she runs into this barn, very dark, and hides. He comes in shining a flashlight because he is pretty certain that she went into this barn. We then see a kind of chalkboard, whiteboard filled of zombies, their descriptions, how many times they grind their teeth, how many times they need to eat, all sorts of information. And it's as if he's been conducting experiments on these zombies. And also these zombies are in the barn. There's about 20 of them all chained up and kind of right next to her. Ava then realizes she has no chance of actually escaping, so she then decides to go back to Plan A and pretend to be his wife. She stands up and starts swooning him, acting as if she was his wife, and she's like, "There's one problem. I don't have my ring. I seem to have lost it. Will you help me, darling?" And he then takes a step back as she walks out of the barn. Ava starts to get really close to him. He's holding her and he's almost falling for it, but then he remembers, he breaks out of the entrapment and he says, "This won't work," to which she then takes something and stabs him directly into the jugular, and he falls over, trying to hold it, obviously, and she takes the car keys off of his belt. She then starts driving towards the resort. She's only about 19 miles away from this resort. On her way, she stops a few times. There's this one part where she's asleep and she's woken up by some strange noise that she's pretty sure there's a man outside. She goes outside to where there is a zombie. He stops what he's doing, looks at her, they stare at each other for a few seconds, and then he goes back to what he was doing. He was actually digging graves for his family that have completely passed away, essentially proving that these zombies do come back to life if they have unfinished business. This zombies in particular was his family were left, not buried, even though he died as well. Ava then helps him move the dead bodies into the grave, and then the zombie gets into the grave, stands there with his back to her, and she grabs a shovel and finishes the job. She then buries him, and then she continues on her way to the resort. She then gets to the resort, to which she starts digging through every room she can find, because she knows her husband was checked into this resort. She doesn't know the room, of course. She eventually finds the exact room that her husband is in. She goes into it, he is on the floor, and she starts talking to him, hoping that he has come back to life with unfinished business for her. While Ava's there talking to him, he is completely deceased. There is no signs of life whatsoever. He has no unfinished business. She then starts to look around the room and realizes that he had company. She makes her way into the bathroom to where she finds his essentially mistress, one night stand, whatever you want to call her, deceased in there as well. She picks up her name badge and looks at her husband and says, "Wow, she's pretty," or "she was pretty." While she's there freaking out, the man from earlier in the movie, her partner, actually finds her. He comes into the room and finds her there with her deceased husband. She then confides in her partner that her husband was actually there with a mistress, and she had cheated on him a week prior due to lots of fights and her lack of being able to get pregnant. Her partner then decides, well, we might as well party. It then fast forwards to a montage of them drinking and partying all in this resort, also dealing with the zombies. They then decide to say farewell to her husband. They put him in a boat and let him go off to sea, to which they're wrapping things up at the resort. They get back in the vehicle and they start to drive back to the military base. On their way back to the military base, there is a zombie in the distance. They're driving up to her and they stop a little ways away. They get out of the car and they kind of walk towards her. They then realize that this was Katie, the military man's wife, the one zombie that was pregnant. They realize that this zombie was pregnant, but the problem is that she's no longer pregnant. There's a moment where Katie, the zombie, and Ava are standing there just staring at each other, and you hear a baby crying in the distance. The zombie then turns around, glances over her shoulder one time at Ava, and just walks in a straight line along the road. Once the zombie gets a little bit away, Ava snaps out of it, hears the baby, and starts running towards it. Ava and her partner run towards the sounds of this crying, screaming baby, to which they find abandoned in this rock structure. Ava and her partner then pick up the baby, and they're just standing there. She's holding the baby, consoling it, rocking it back and forth, and the movie ends. Overall, I think this was a pretty good movie. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. I know that I said it's a 6.5 out of 10, but then I also said that it was pretty good. I think it was good as far as like the acting. The actors were pretty good. They did what they could with the characters they were given, and they really played them to the best of their ability. The sound effects were really chilling when the zombies did the clicking sound with their jaw and the grinding of their teeth. It was a really good kind of gross sound. They did really good with the sound effects and even the costume design. The zombies, they looked amazing. There was nothing to critique about them. The only problems I have with this entire movie honestly come from the writers. The first part of the movie, there wasn't really too much wrong with it. Obviously, it's just introducing this world, this catastrophic disaster that happened, introducing Ava and showing the dynamic of her and her husband. For me, the problem with the writing really started when she was locked in this room and then she woke up to the military man, and we just have to go off of what he said happened. I would have liked to see if what he said was true. Obviously, he didn't decease her partner. The partner got away. However, I wonder how he got away from this military man that has pew-pews and escaped him essentially on a motorcycle. And then also the other problem I kind of had with this movie is if some of these zombies are back only because they have unfinished business, why are they then chasing the humans? Some of them don't, some of them stand there, some of them, their lips are moving, some just walk away. But why are there the one zombies that are actively trying to eat the humans or trying to get at them? That wasn't their unfinished business because they didn't know that these humans were there prior to them becoming deceased. The only other problem I think that I had with this movie is also whenever they stumble across the baby, but when they find the baby, they go up to it. There's quite a few problems with that, but they end the movie, so you don't really have to worry about it, I guess. I mean, with them finding this baby, essentially it's a newborn baby, the mom zombie just walked away. How are they going to feed this baby? They're in apocalyptic Tasmania, in a part that's basically on fire. Where are they going to find formula to feed this baby? And also on top of that, how are they going to go back to a military base and present this baby? They know that Ava wasn't pregnant when she signed up for this. They're not going to be able to keep the baby, so what's going to happen to the baby? Also, the fact that this baby was born from a zombie, the military is not going to want to do experiments because how is it possibly human? Its mom's been deceased for who knows how long. Overall, I think it was a decent movie. You should definitely check it out if you are interested in zombie movies or even like just want to see the sound effects and the costume design. I think it's definitely worth the watch. Okay, so if you want to watch a movie about a cheating wife going on a long journey to find her cheating husband, and in the end she actually finds baby Jesus, I think you should definitely give this movie a watch. Alright, I wanted to thank you all for making it this far into the video. Thank you so much for watching. My name was Jackson, aka Nothing Speaks to Me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Bye!